Namaste and Siddhi Pranam. Welcome to today's topic, which is relevance of Dharma and Bhakti during pregnancy. So let's begin with understanding the essence of Dharma. So Dharma is a multifaceted concept that encompasses various aspects of ethical and moral living. And also it includes societal norms, duty, and righteousness. So it really provides a framework for individuals to lead a virtuous and harmonious life within the society. And the essence of Dharma lies in living in accordance with one's responsibilities, obligations, and the natural order of universe. When we look at the principles of Dharma, there would be non-violence, which is ahimsa. And this principle emphasizes in refraining from causing harm or violence to any living being. And it's about fostering a mindset of compassion and empathy towards all creations, promoting a sense of peacefulness and coexistence. The next principle is truthfulness or satya. So satya really encourages individuals to be honest and sincere in their words and action. And it's about speaking and living in alignment with your own truth and avoiding any deceit or falsehood in all interactions. Now the third principle is compassion or daya. So daya really comprises of, emphasizes on importance of showing kindness, empathy, and understanding towards others. It also involves actively seeking to elevate the suffering of others and promoting their well-being. We often misunderstand compassion as, when we say empathy, being empathetic sometimes also is seen as looking at someone from an angle that we are standing in the place of giver and someone is standing in the place of receiver. While you can also look at compassion or kind of empathy from a sense where you're not making someone small or yourself big, but really standing from that neutral space where you are trying to bring that sense of neutrality to the other person also. Knowing that one is struggling with a survival, but that is not their inherent nature. Their inherent nature is as divine as you are or the whole universe is. So just consciously receiving them from a point of view that they are equally divine as you are and all other beings, and still being able to serve them from that point of view. And that is the space we should consider compassion or empathy from, versus somebody being small or big. Now, the next principle is self-discipline, which is tapas. So tapas involves cultivating self-control, willpower, and restraint in one's thought, words, and deed. And it's about exerting discipline to overcome desires, impulses, and distraction that may hinder the personal growth and moral development of the person. Now, last is justice, and justice here would refer to upholding righteousness and fairness and moral integrity in all aspects of life, and it involves fulfilling one's duties and responsibilities towards society and oneself and the universe, while also respecting the rights and dignity of others. So looking at the independence and welfare, so Dharma recognizes the independence of all beings and promotes actions that contribute to overall welfare and harmony of society. That is why it includes principles like non-violence, truthfulness, compassion, self-discipline, and justice that we just discussed now. So Dharma really encompasses both individual and collective duty. So when we are perceiving the sense of Dharma, we should see it from both personalized angle as well as from an angle of collective. So it really involves fulfilling our own personal obligations, like, taking care of our families, and practicing honesty and integrity in all our actions, and contributing to the welfare of society through acts of charity, service, and compassion. And that combinedly becomes the dharma that we are here to live on the planet. So dharma also includes, really sometimes following societal norms, laws, and traditions that have been established for the smooth functioning and well-being of the community, and honoring that in the goodness of the society. And when we distinct dharma from bhakti, we can see that, unlike bhakti, which is, bhakti is kind of centered around personal devotion and love for the divine, dharma, wherein actually primarily focuses on moral conduct, social responsibilities, and fulfilling one's duty towards oneself, family, society, and the environment. So dharma really provides us guidelines for ethical living and serves as a compass for individuals to navigate through life in righteous and balanced manner. So if we would give some examples of dharma, would be a person who adheres to the principle of ahimsa or non-violence and refrains from causing harm to any living beings. And they treat all creatures with compassion, including animals, insects, and also fellow human beings. This is someone following their dharma. And someone who is responsible individual who fulfills their duty as a parent and taking care of their children's physical, emotional, and educational needs, providing them with love, support, and guidance. That is also a person following their path in dharma. Now, a person who actively participates in community service initiatives like volunteering at homeless shelter, or organizing fundraising events for charitable organizations, or doing any kind of other compassionate works for the society, and thereby fulfilling their duty towards the society, is another example for someone fulfilling their dharma. Now, individuals who follow the principle of honesty and integrity in their professional life, and conducting their business affairs ethically and treating their colleagues and clients with fairness and respect, is another example of dharma in action, even at workplace. So all these examples come from a different aspects of life, but they all point towards how one can follow their dharma and while playing their different roles in life. So let's explore now the meaning of bhakti and understand the bhakti, what it means. So bhakti refers to a practice of unconditional love, devotion, and surrender to the higher power or the divine. And it is a deeply personal and emotional connection between an individual and their chosen deity or a form of divine. And bhakti is categorized by a selfless, intense, and unwavering love that transcends mundane desires and attachment. So the essence of bhakti lies in complete surrender and submission to oneself to the divine will. And it involves cultivating a deep longing and yearning for the union with the divine. So this yearning for the union with divine is often accompanied by rituals, prayers, hymns, and act of worship. And bhakti really encourages people to develop a profound emotional bond and personal relationship with the divine, considering the divine as the ultimate source of love, guidance, and solace. So bhakti is not confined to any particular religious tradition, and it can be really practiced by individuals from all paths and all faiths. And it is characterized by the belief that through devotion and love, one can attain spiritual growth, inner transformation, and ultimately liberation or union with the divine. So bhakti really emphasizes the importance of heart and emotion in a spiritual journey, and allowing the people to experience a sense of divine presence and connection in their lives. So when we try to give some examples of someone practicing bhakti, would be maybe a devotee of Lord Krishna in Hinduism who regularly visits temples, sings the hymns, offers prayers, and engages in devotional practices such as chanting the Krishna names with love and devotion, is an exemplary person performing bhakti in his or her own faith. Now, in Islam, a follower of Islam performs salha or prayer 5 times a day, and facing the Makkah, expressing their love and devotion and surrender to the Allah is another example of someone expressing their devotion towards the divine. A Christian who engages in personal prayer and attends church services regularly and expresses their love for Jesus Christ through hymns, worships, and act of service toward others is another beautiful example of bhakti in action. Now, a person practicing bhakti in non-religious context might also cultivate deep love and devotion for nature, and seeing it as a manifestation of the divine, and engage in activities such as meditation in natural surrounding and environmental conservation. And that is also example of bhakti. So let's look at the differences between bhakti and dharma. So while both bhakti and dharma plays a very significant role in the spiritual and ethical spheres, they differ in their focus and scope. So the main differences between bhakti and dharma can be as follows. So number one would be the nature of practice. So bhakti primarily revolves around the personal and emotional relationship between an individual and the divine, and it also involves acts of devotion, worship, prayers, and rituals aimed at cultivating love and surrender and union with the divine. While dharma, on the other hand, is a broader concept that encompasses a range of moral and ethical principles guiding the individual and their social behavior. So, personal versus social focus. So, bhakti is primarily concerned with the individual's personal spiritual journey and seeking personal transformation and attaining a deep connection with the divine. And it emphasizes on the cultivation of love, devotion, and surrender personally to the divine. Now, wherein dharma, on the other hand, focuses on individuals' responsibilities and duties within their local family or very close-knit groups, plus the society overall. And it encompasses the principles and guidelines for leading a righteous and virtuous life in relation to others. Now, when we look at the means and goals, so bhakti serves as a means to attain spiritual growth, realization, and ultimately union with the divine. And it is a path of devotion and love that leads to liberation or salvation. While dharma, on the other hand, serves as a means to live a righteous, ethical life while contributing to the well-being and the harmony of the society. While moksha or liberation is the goal within the dharma, it is not the sole focus. Now we can also look at the universality. So bhakti can be practiced by individuals of various religious traditions, each having their own chosen deity or form of divine. And it is deeply personal and subjective experience. And dharma, on the other hand, is a very broader concept that transcends specific religious boundaries, and it encompasses of ethical principles and guidelines that can be applicable to individuals from different faiths and cultural backgrounds. Now, how can we look at dharma and pregnancy and embrace the responsibility and ethics while being pregnant? So, upholding moral and ethical principles during pregnancy. So during pregnancy, mothers are really encouraged to have that, uphold the moral and ethical principles. and ensuring a nurturing and responsible environment for themselves and their growing baby. So the practice of Dharma plays a very significant role in guiding their actions and decisions. So key aspects to consider might include ahimsa, non-violence, and for a pregnant woman, non-violence will look like maybe this, that they are, they are creating a loving and nurturing environment for themselves and their baby, and they're avoiding harmful substances, negative influences, and stressful situations that may impact their well-being and that of their child. Now, satya, truthfulness. So when a mother is embracing honesty and authenticity, and she is, communicating openly with her family members, her loved ones, her friends, her healthcare providers, and fostering the trust and support throughout her pregnancy journey, that is an example of satya in action. Now, asteya, which is non-stealing and upholding the principle of asteya, which we have always also discussed in yamas and niyamas. So a mother can be really reminded to respect the boundaries and possessions of others, and refraining from behaviors that might harm or exploit others. And how can, embracing the role of motherhood by Dharma, how can mother do this? So we can also look at motherhood as a very sacred role that aligns closely with the Dharma, the very universal meaning of Dharma, aligns very closely to the role and the character of motherhood in itself. So mothers are really encouraged to embrace the principles and responsibilities associated with motherhood and fulfilling their duty with love, care, and a sense of purpose. And what she can look at here is, first is nurturing and caring. So mothers are called to provide physical, emotional, and spiritual nurturing of their child and creating a loving and supporting environment for their child can really help the baby thrive and grow. They can also amalgamate the sense of Dharma through selfless practice or selfless service. And when the mothers embrace selfless service, they can prioritize the need of their child above their own personal needs while making the necessary sacrifices to ensure the child's well-being and happiness. Now, the third part of this can be instilling values. So mothers plays a very, very vital role in instilling the moral values and ethical principles in their child, and teaching compassion, empathy, honesty, and respect for others can be seen as dharma in practice by the mother. Now, finding balance between personal and social duties. So pregnancy really requires finding a very delicate balance between personal and social duties. And mothers are encouraged to navigate this balance while upholding dharma and fulfilling their responsibility to themselves, their family, and society. And the key considerations here can be, number one will be self-care. So they can prioritize self-care, and mothers take steps to maintain their physical, emotional, and mental well-being, recognizing that their own well-being enables them to fulfill their duties towards others more effectively. Family support. So seeking support from family members and loved ones. By doing this, mothers can embrace the interconnectedness of family relationships and also allow others to share in the responsibilities of nurturing and caring for the child. Third would be contributing to the society. Mothers find ways to contribute to society within the constraints of their pregnancy journey, and they can look out for opportunities to support any charitable causes, volunteer in the community initiatives, or share their experiences and wisdom with other mothers. And by upholding this moral and ethical principles, and embracing their role of motherhood and finding the balance between personal and social duties, mothers can navigate their pregnancy journey in alignment and accordance with Dharma. And these practices not only benefit the mother and child, but also contributes to the well-being of the larger community. Now, looking at the Bhakti, Dharma, and the emotional well-being of the mother. So seeking emotional support through Bhakti during the transformative journey of pregnancy, this can really help mothers to find solace and emotional support through the practice of Bhakti. And by cultivating a deep sense of devotion and connection with the divine, they can create a nurturing space to navigate the emotional ups and downs that often come in the phase of pregnancy. So when the mother seeks support from the higher power through prayer, meditation, any devotional rituals, it will provide a lot of comfort and sense of reassurance to the mothers. And engaging in Bhakti also allows the mothers to express their deepest emotions, fears, and hopes, and fostering an inner strength that will help them to face challenges with a lot of resilience. Now, finding strength and serenity in devotional practices. So devotional practices plays a very vital role in nurturing the emotional well-being of expectant mothers. And engaging in activities like chanting mantras, reading sacred texts, or participating in satsang, known as like spiritual gatherings. Satsang is the Sanskrit word for spiritual gatherings or gatherings of the divine beings or human beings. So this offers a sense of connection with something greater than oneself. And all these practices will provide a sanctuary of peace and tranquility to the mothers and allow them to let go of any stress, anxiety, or negative emotion they might be holding on to. And by immersing themselves in devotional activities, mothers can cultivate a serene and positive mindset, which in turn positively impact their emotional well-being. Now, looking at the resolving doubts and anxieties through spiritual guidance. So pregnancy can bring a lot of doubts, a lot of fears, and a lot of anxiety at times. And seeking spiritual guidance through Bhakti can be very instrumental in finding the answer and gaining clarity at this point in time. And engaging in conversation with maybe spiritual mentors or attending satsangs or discourses, reading spiritual literature can really provide a valuable insight and guidance on how to navigate emotional challenges. And through the lens of Dharma, mothers can gain a broader perspective, understanding the transient nature of emotion and find solace in the divine plan. And spiritual guidance can also help mothers to cultivate trust, surrender, and acceptance, and foster emotional well-being and inner peace. And by incorporating Bhakti into their lives, mothers can nourish their emotional well-being during pregnancy. And when they seek emotional support and find strength in devotional practices and resolve doubts through a spiritual guidance, it can really provide a quite a holistic approach to emotional well-being. And by embracing these practices, mother can really create a very beautiful, nurturing environment, not only for themselves, but also for their unborn child. And this will promote a sense of harmony, love, and tranquility throughout their pregnancy journey. Now, let's look at practicing Bhakti and Dharma for healthy development of the child. And number one here would be imparting spiritual values to the unborn child. So, a lot of mothers recognize the importance of nurturing their child's holistic development. And this also includes spiritual well-being of the baby. And through the practice of Bhakti and Dharma, they seek to impart those spiritual values to their unborn child. And by incorporating prayers, sacred chants, devotional music into their daily routine, mother and father, both the parents, can really create a beautiful environment where the child is exposed to positive vibration and spiritual energy. And this early exposure lays a foundation for a child's spiritual growth and instills values such as love, compassion, gratitude, and reverence to the divine. Now, creating a positive environment through devotional practices. So devotional practices not only benefit the parents, but also create a very beautiful positive environment that supports a healthy development for the baby. And when we engage in devotional activities like meditation, recitation of spiritual texts, or participate in spiritual gathering, all of this generates a serene and harmonious atmosphere around us. And the child, who is still in the womb, is really sensitive to these vibrations. And so hence, it can really foster a sense of calmness and emotional stability for the baby. And the parents' commitment to Bhakti and Dharma can really set a beautiful example for the child and can be really inspiring for the baby to lead a spiritually centered life, even in the life ahead. So next would be prayers and rituals for the well-being of mother and the baby. So in the practice of Bhakti and Dharma, mothers can often engage into prayers and rituals specifically focused on the well-being of both the mother and the baby. In Hinduism, there are practices and rituals like Garbhadhana, which is the conception ceremony, and Pumzasvana, which is pregnancy rituals. They are performed to ensure the physical and spiritual well-being of the child. And by actively involving the child in these rituals, parents can create a sense of connection with the divine, which will foster a strong spiritual bond that supports a child's growth and development. And by practicing Bhakti and Dharma during pregnancy, parents can really create an environment that nurtures the healthy development of the child and also impart spiritual values that will foster a positive atmosphere through devotional practices and offering prayers and rituals for the well-being of both the mother and the child. This all will contribute to the child's overall physical, emotional, and spiritual health. And this holistic approach to parenting will cultivate a deep sense of connection to the divine and will lay a beautiful foundation for a spiritually fulfilling life for the child. Now, next would be seeking community support and guidance. So seeking guidance from spiritual leaders or gurus can be really transformative during the phase of pregnancy. And when we seek guidance, mothers can really bring a space within themselves of surrender and sense of gratitude, such that the wisdom is available at hand and that their child is blessed to receive this beautiful guidance even prior to birth. And mothers, when they often turn to these wise mentors who can most likely possess deep spiritual knowledge and experience, can really feel like a hand-holding during this phase of pregnancy and also allow them to overcome any sense of uncertainty during this journey. And they can also at the same time receive insights with the guidance and the wisdom that they're receiving from any spiritual teacher or master. And they can incorporate spirituality into their pregnancy journey very beautifully through this. And sometimes spiritual masters can also offer advice on practices like meditation, chanting, and reading some sacred texts that can nurture the spiritual well-being of the mother and the baby. And at times, mother can also receive guidance on how to address any emotional or spiritual challenges that mother might be facing during this period. And this wisdom and guidance can really serve as a beacon of light and help the mother to navigate their journey with sense of purpose and clarity during this phase. Now, joining devotional group or community for community support. So, mothers can also look out to join some devotional groups and communities that can provide a nurturing space for the mother and the baby. And it can also be an opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals on a spiritual path. And these communities often engage in devotional practices, group prayers, or spiritual gatherings that offers a supportive environment. And being part of such a community allows the mothers to share their experiences, concerns, and joys with others who can relate to their spiritual journey. And these interactions fosters a sense of belonging and unity, providing emotional support and encouragement for the mothers. And devotional groups or communities also provide opportunities to learn from each other's insight and experiences, which further deepens one's spiritual growth. Now, sharing experiences and insight with fellow devotees. So within the devotional group or communities, mothers can share their experiences and insight, which can contribute to the collective growth and understanding of the group overall. And by opening up and sharing their thoughts, challenges, and movements of inspiration, mothers can really foster a sense of connection and mutual support. And these discussions creates a platform of learning from one another, and also they can also learn from each other's spiritual path and personal journey, and also shares different spiritual practices that might have benefited them. And the sharing of experiences within community can uplift and empower the mother to realize that they are not alone in their spiritual quest. And it can also provide an opportunity to celebrate the joys and milestones of pregnancy together. And this will strengthen the bond among the fellow devotees. And these connections can provide a sense of belonging, encouragement, and shared wisdom during this transformative journey of pregnancy. And the collective support and guidance contributes to the emotional and the spiritual well-being of both the mother, as well as fosters a connection between the baby and the mom, and also encourage them to embrace spirituality in their daily life. Now, looking at how Bhakti can be really empowering during the motherhood journey. So, celebrating the divine feminine and motherhood is the first step. So when motherhood can be seen as a very sacred and transformative journey, and it can also be seen as a reflection of divine feminine. This time is total period of creation, which is the inherent nature of divine feminine energy, which resides in the universe, runs the universe as a creation itself. So motherhood or the pregnancy is a time when a woman is embodying these nurturing and compassionate and unconditional loving energies. And through the practice of the Bhakti and Dharma, mothers can really celebrate and honor the divine feminine within themselves and the role of motherhood itself. And recognizing the immense power and grace that comes with bringing a life into the world, mothers can really embrace their connection to the divine and find inspiration in their sacred duty of nurturing and raising beautiful divine children. So embracing the transformative power of Bhakti and Dharma. So Bhakti and Dharma provides mother with powerful tools to navigate the challenges and joys of motherhood. The devotional practices of Bhakti like prayers, chanting, meditation can offer solace, strength, and a deep sense of connection with the divine, while Dharma can guide a mother to uphold her responsibility and ethical principles and ensure the well-being of her children and also herself. And by embracing the transformative power of Bhakti and Dharma, mothers can find inner resilience, wisdom, and clarity in their journey of motherhood. Now, nurturing the spiritual connection with the divine throughout the motherhood. So motherhood is not only a physical and emotional journey, but also a very profound spiritual experience. And through the practice of Bhakti and Dharma, mothers can nurture their spiritual connection with the divine throughout the different stages of motherhood. They can find solace in prayer, seek spiritual guidance to navigate challenges, and foster a sense of gratitude for the blessings of the motherhood. And by embracing their role as a spiritual nurturer, mothers can create an environment where their children can grow in love, compassion, and spiritual values. And as mothers continue their journey through the various stages of motherhood, the practices of Bhakti and Dharma will continue to empower them to find strength, purpose, and fulfillment. And they will celebrate the divine feminine within themselves and recognize the transformative power of nurturing role that they are carrying. And by nurturing their spiritual connection with the divine, mothers not only uplift themselves, but also inspire and guide their children on their spiritual path. And so, in the process of embracing Bhakti and Dharma and motherhood, mothers really embody a profound source of love, wisdom, and spiritual growth for themselves and their families. So with that, I hope it was really helpful, and this will inspire you to create a loving environment, nurturing environment, where even within your class of prenatal yoga or in your yoga studio or wherever, however you wish to conduct this, you yourself can create a very environment or offering community gatherings, devotional group gatherings, where mothers can have this beautiful space to nurture their Bhakti and Dharma. And as yoga teachers, it is a great, great gift you have to be able to gift this to the mothers and the upcoming generation in our world. With that, I hope this was helpful and contributed to your life, and you continue to contribute to so many mothers. And that's my blessings with this. So thank you and namaste.